So welcome back to Australia. What were some highlights from yesterday? It was super hot. I thought I was going to die.
Highlights from yesterday. It was a Warped Tour in Brisbane. Kids, crowd, vibrations of sound waves, energetically vibrating through, affecting the eardrum. It's all up to individual perception. I think if we look at the objective perception, would always change with our involvement in that perception.
So does that mean your mood makes it obviously effect on your actual...
Hegel wrote it in the early 1800s, so we can just leave it at that. We've just completed a new record, or just in the finishing processes, and so it should be out in we're hoping March.
Something that kind of resonated with me was like the Ocean of the Sky kind of really blew like a rocket up my ass in the sense of genre and the theme and like kind of the griminess, and it was like really grunged out. I think those kind of off-the-wall recordings are kind of missing in our kind of current music landscape at the moment. All this overproduced shiny shit. Do you kind of looking forward to kind of this like back regression of like not DIY essentially, but more stripping back all the electronica and all the crap and all the synth and shit?
Who knows, man? I mean, I think that basically art is for the listener, and I mean, people have an idea. I think ideas become very popular, and so right now the idea of no production is very popular, apparently. So we're never trying to do anything that's cool or that people want to hear. So maybe we'll make a record that's completely produced and shiny.
So I wanted to also talk about the label as well. With Gas, well, who are you guys talking to at the moment about potential kids on that record and that label with you guys?
With Gas, it's really just an idea that's started internally, that we've just been kicking around about a union for artists, so the artist gets paid first, and it's something that as it evolves we'll figure it out. It might just be like we do a compilation with a lot of bands to kind of get it going. It's definitely going to be a work in progress, but we're really excited.
Yeah, our idea, it's not going to be for every band. I think that the kind of idea for kids growing up nowadays, they want to get in a band and they want to have all these social media followers, right? And who's going to lead this new revolution is what we're trying to figure out. And I think the revolution starts inside, and once people understand where the money goes when you buy a record off iTunes, or when you steal a record, I think that the more people understand the process, the more they're going to want to steal it directly from us and get like $5 off a T-shirt or whatever it may be. So this is not for bands who are looking to be rich and famous. These are for this give a shit movement. The union idea is for true artists who make music because they love music.
And you must have seen that, I know a few bands that have been on labels and they've gone through like almost to their third album and they're still putting their own money and not seeing any kind of money back from those first tours and even those records. So it's, I guess it's all bureaucracy in a way, but like it's really hard to kind of follow that money and who's actually in charge and it's going somewhere in someone's account or back into the label. And why?
Just like any issue in the world, I think whether it be, economics or real politic or, I think that if you follow the money, you'll notice that it all goes into a few pockets, and nobody wants that. Everybody understands that that's not fair, and like I said, once people understand that, once people become educated about it, then it won't happen anymore.
And that'd be a really good guideline for young kids as well, starting their own bands, so they have an idea of what not to sign and what to sign as well.
Or quit. If you want to be famous and rich, you should quit now.
That's a really good point. Do you think, fans and I guess critics, kind of get caught up too much in labeling music and it's all its subgenres, like slash hardcore like that?
I haven't read a decent record review or any kind of critical writing in the last 10 years. I mean, I think the people that write record reviews aren't even writers, so...
I think the problem we do have sometimes is like we have a little bit of pressure on our necks from companies as well. So if I write something that's maybe not scathing, but I don't fucking like that record, I'll submit it, and someone will say no, we can't print that because the label's going to get shitty. We need to make sure that we appease the label. But
yeah, when everybody has to play the game, it's an impossible game to play.
It's crazy.
Sorry. So point of you guys and definitely probably it comes from experience, is, you know, when you're on stage, you kind of build off each other. So when the song shifts into the actual chorus, it's almost like a delirious and kind of cathartic stage dive. Does your aggression come out more during tour rather than the studio?
A little bit of both. It's a different approach to that connection of emotion. And when we're writing in the studio, we get to kind of focus in more on a more kind of maybe contrived emotion, contrived in the sense of built and like established and really thought out, not contrived as in overplay, you know. But I think live, it's a very natural. It comes to you, and that's what you feel, and you move in that emotion. So it's two different worlds. I guess it's kind of like trying to pick apart the difference between a big festival show and a small intimate show. They're both amazing, but it's just a completely different world.
Yeah, absolutely. And also with that, you kind of do adjust your set lists as well. I think regionally, as you are, you know, if you're playing in Germany to these crazy, you know, hardcore kids, you know, you'd probably play the harder stuff, whereas like, you know, club shows, it's like this encapsulated room that, you know, you're pushing off something rather than like playing out to like, you know, endless people in a crowd at a festival. So you kind of adapt your music, I think, through set list.
Our fans are very open, I feel like, so either way.
You guys are kind of sons of Warped, and essentially, you know, starting the tour in your infancy of your career and now kind of headliners. With each appearance, is it like an interesting progression and almost like a benchmark of your careers?
Yep.
On Warped Tour? Is that what you mean? Just, I wouldn't say they set benchmarks for us. You know, being on the Warped Tour, it's nice to just get out and play, and I'm thankful that there are these bands out here that are making music, and maybe this is just more personal, but the more and more, I just don't care as much about what it means. I'm just happy to make the songs, create music to inspire people, and how that like adds to my bulge of feeling good about playing music. It doesn't really. I mean, after all this time, I just think it's the same thing.
We're trying to.
Same thing as when I was young.
I think that setting things apart and kind of setting up festivals that include this genre, I mean, with a belief or with a category, we have separatism, and so that's what we're trying to avoid at all costs. I don't think that this should be a competition, or, yeah. I mean, music is a personal expression. Art is a personal expression. So, if we're here to jerk off over ourselves, then we should probably go home.
I really don't think that's the case at all, and especially after yesterday's reaction. It's so glad to have you guys back here again, and it was really appreciated.
It's great to be in Australia. It's such a beautiful place to tour, and the kids are so passionate about the music, which is really why we're doing what we do.